Hi folks, here we are, June the 6th, Saturday. Got a bit of sun between rain here and some over clouds and on Vancouver Island. And trust everybody as well. Enjoying the hypocrisy of everything. You know, I think the world is lost, Western world has lost its collective mind. I took a quick glance through the mainstream media channels, and from London to Berlin to across the US and Canada and into Australia, 3 continents, several cities, people are protesting. Of course, the same signs: Black Lives Matter. Some cases they have LGB, Black Lives Matter. They all have their own little twist to them. And the thing, the hypocrisy I see, Toronto has just extended its restrictions due to the Wuhan wall. So they have extended those to June the 19th, unless of course you're protesting. It doesn't count if you're protesting. But you only can have 5 people meeting at one time. No groups bigger than 5. And of course, I'm not sure how many people are marching in Toronto and Ottawa and all over the damn place. But I think, as I took a quick look on the channels, there's definitely more than 5. And they're definitely not spacing, as they say they should. Some have masks, some don't. Some are got them all over the place. Some are using them as throat protectors or whatever. But it's that's the hypocrisy of all of this. If you're out protesting incestuous race, it's systemic racism. And I see even our Prime Minister was out yesterday marching, of course, with his bodyguards and taking a knee. And his speech is about the systemic racism. This is our next thing that they're creating for us. And he was going on and on about the plight of the Indigenous people in Canada. And hell, he has been in government for how long now? Why hasn't he done something about it? I mean, it's all bullshit. And if you don't believe me, you can ask his... just do some research. Research into, let's say, Jody Wilson-Raybould. She's from this area. She was his justice minister for a while. There was a big scandal about the whole thing. Not that Jody Wilson-Raybould was without her own scandal, because you got to remember, everybody has their own agenda. And Jody Raybould and her husband Tim, they had written a manifesto, and it's the BCAFN Governance Toolkit. You can look that up and check for yourself. I could give you links to that, but let you do your own work and check on that. And if you live in Canada, maybe you're already aware of it. Probably not, but some people are. And while you're at it, you know, we think that we have our Prime Minister just really tries to portray this ethical, well-meaning, caring, loving man. Well, look up the SNC-Lavalin affair. SNC-Lavalin, Lavalin affair. That's how Jody Wilson-Raybould got into a kerfuffle with him. And she's still a member of Parliament. She hasn't put any bills forth recently because they're all working out of their houses. Making big bucks. In the previous 4 years, she had spent $125,000 of Canadian taxpayer money on trips back and forth to Ottawa for her husband. Sort of cool. See, in here, in Canada, they get a nice travel allowance, housing allowance, $200,000 plus. So they're, you know, we're not sort of worrying about them. What else? Watching in the U.S., I see West was out protesting with his bodyguards intact. Kanye West. Just got to look how he lives. I mean, I watched them talking to a black woman whose business was totally gutted and destroyed and looted. And she was saying, "What do you mean Black Lives Matter? It's all BS. Look what you just did to me." And of course, West and Kardashian, they have a multi-million-dollar mansion with multi-million-dollar high-tech security guards, and armed. None of these people live on the street. Joe Biden and all his folks, all these people who are really going, none of the politicians, nobody's burning their streets and their houses. Nobody's breaking their windows. I mean, they've got security, armed security. And that brings me to the next hypocrisy. They want to disband the police. They want to disarm and disband police officers. And what did one lady call it? The Department of Security. They want to replace it with the Department of Security. Maybe she's read 1984 as well, I don't know. But it's, think about that. Just think about that. Mind you, I realize many people watching this have already made their minds up. You've watched mainstream media for so long, for over a week now, and you've come to the conclusion that, yes, there's police brutality, and there's racism is rampant, and we've got to do something about it. Coming in from the arena this morning, I see a ferry coming in, and a lot of people coming off with their signs, getting ready to protest here, because it can't be a community without a protest. And I'm sure these people are all well-meaning, but when push comes to shove, I don't think they know which way, up from down, or what the hell they're protesting about. It's just that television is showing it around the world, saying, hey, we got to take part in this thing. It's the right thing to do. And I ask, I don't know, just imagine the city without a police force. In the States, some schools are getting rid of the security. They're gonna put psychologists and counselors and stuff in. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. And I'm glad I don't have any children going to those schools. It's mind you, the way it's going, I don't think I'd have a child in one of those schools. It's better off to keep them at home and do homeschooling. The education they're getting is sort of bogus. And the other thing I suppose people just won't do is they won't check out Black Lives Matter. Now, who is it? Connect some dots, and who are they connected to? There's this thing called Antifa, who've been calling for a long time to disarm police officers and get rid of police officers. Take their funding away, get rid of, you don't need police around. Well, these are the assholes who are doing most of the violence. You know, the anomalous report, the protesters, people don't know, are there because there's a protest, aren't doing most of the looting and burning. But it's these violent thugs who are. And of course they don't want armed police officers around, because that sort of hinders what they do. Total anarchy always works best for clowns like that. And again, that they're calling for that from that worldwide. It's not just in one U.S. city, it's worldwide. Of course, some spineless leaders in the States are sort of kowtowing to that. Yeah, maybe we should disarm, restructure our police force because they're all violent. And I don't know, I think maybe we should put all of these people who are bitching in a police uniform and have them go out and protect buildings from being looted and see how they make out. I think they'd have a different story. Or have them arrest somebody who is high on chemical drugs, and maybe they'd have or try to contain somebody who is doing illegal things and high on drugs at the same time. If you have never been in that situation, it's easy to criticize. It's easy to say the cops are sort of, all cops are bad. And the fact is they're not. There's an odd bad apple there, like there are in any profession, in any way you go. There's bad parents, there's bad teachers, there's bad doctors. Everywhere you go you can find some bad things, but you don't paint everybody with that. Although we do that now, we sort of penalize the whole group rather than pick out the bad ones. That's another crazy thing. I've got a link at the end. I'm not sure. Candace Owens. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this young lady. She's got a bit of a blurb, and it took a while for me to find out the other side of the story. You know, when you're reading history, you got to realize it's written by the victors. And you often wonder, what's the other side of the story? Because sometimes there's 40 sides to a story. And so you'd have to do an awful lot of digging to get to the bottom of things. Most people don't do that. They just take what's up front, what they're being told. And it's the same with this situation. With Black Lives Matter and racism and what have you. And I notice a football team is sort of all taking a knee in this here picture today on television. And it's racism. And there was one white guy on the team. The rest are all black. These guys are all very wealthy people from playing a game of football. So I think this is really far stretched beyond the imagination. And when you look at it, when you really look at it, you see there's something going on here that is just not quite right. When things simultaneously are happening in 3 continents, in many countries, in many cities around the world, there's somebody pulling some strings somewhere. And I know you all say, well, hey, that's conspiracy theories. Not everybody says that, but some of you do. Because I've talked to some of you, and some of you do. And you're so used to watching CNN, NBC, CBS, CBC, CTV, BBC, all the mainstream media, whether it's the New York Times or the Washington papers. And it's interesting because when you start to really look at it, and you start to flip from channel to channel, when they're basically reading the same script, not giving you the other sides like a journalist would. I mean, these aren't journalists, these are pretenders. Maybe they went to school to be a journalist, but that was taught out of them pretty quickly. Those who are sort of relegated to wherever. But not one, as you look at this clip, the first clip that I'll have on in the bottom of this, not one mainstream media outlet has shown us the other side, has shown us the both pictures. And so bringing this link up, I'm not sort of justifying what happened to Floyd, George Floyd, but I'm not justifying making him a saint either. I see they've got big murals with angel wings and all sorts of things, people praying in front of them. I mean, he's become an American hero. He's become a world hero. Hell, in Germany they're protesting about it. In London they're protesting about it. Australia they're protesting about it. Campbell River, even this little town on the Vancouver Island, has got a protest going on right now. The injustice to people. Well, that's about all for now. Check out SNC Lavalin Affair. Check out Jody Wilson-Raybould. Check out her governance toolkit. And remember, everybody has their own agenda. You know, all these politicians going on and on and on, and ex-politicians going on and on and on. There's something just not right. And maybe if you sort of just dig deeper, forget what's implanted in your mind by our propaganda media, dig deeper. because we're in for one awful hell of a ride if people keep themselves ignorant of what's actually going on. Just want to remain ignorant because it's they've got it, their minds made up. I think we have to look past that. And again, that's all for now. Take care, and we'll see you again. Bye for now.